Morning all, how are we doing? Morning ladder, morning Eric. I'm back. So yeah, sorry about yesterday. I missed the live room yesterday afternoon. There's nothing exciting. I've got a trapped C6 nerve, and I went to the doctor's, and he basically prescribed me some drugs they give to people that have got schizophrenia and paranoid delusions, worryingly. But basically, it works on your nervous system. So it's designed to obviously free up your nerves. But then I had to go and get the medicine. That's why I was late. It took 45 minutes to get the medicine, which I was expecting. Usually you walk in and go, yeah, can I have some medicine, please? And they go, yeah, here you go. And I was in loads of pain as well. So I still am today, unfortunately. I have slept about 3 hours last night. So yeah. Oh, God. My your C6 nerve goes from the back of your neck, back of your brain, basically, all the way down the left-hand side of your body to your thumb. So my whole left arm is just constantly aching. My left thumb is numb. I've had it before. There's nothing you can do about it. They can't free it. So you just have to wait for it to sort its life out, basically. But it just, God, aches constantly. So really puts you off everything as well. You just can't concentrate on anything. Anyway, so that's why I was late. Well, I wasn't here yesterday. Not a lot happened yesterday. I've had a quick flick through the charts. I tried to scalp yesterday afternoon. God, did I make a mess of that. So 2 steps backwards yesterday. I got Mr. Revenge head on and tried to scalp 1%, and that didn't work. So yeah, not good. But anyway, we'll concentrate on the FX. I'm going to take the opening range breakout on the DAX, taking the pre-15 today again. So we'll wait and see how that forms. Sentiment EA, I did some testing on yesterday as well. It's working very well. Ignore the numbers because I'm not closing anything out. This has gone $1,500 in profit twice when I've been watching it. I don't know what it's actually done, but from an intraday perspective, this is looking incredibly promising. You just basically take it off when you've got some decent profit on the table. So, but what I wanted to test was that it was taking multiple positions, and as you can see, it is. So we got a pound US dollar there and one there, and correctly spaced. It's telling me what the sentiment is at the time of trade taken and everything. So it's doing everything I want it to do, which is good. I'm going to add some more levels into this. So I want to add previous day's high as a secondary backup level and possibly 3-day high as well. And low, obviously. So, but yeah, it's working very well. That was the initial trade taken there. And then an additional was taken there. And an out was yesterday and today. So it's all good. So that's working very well. So functionality is all good. That's mainly what I wanted to test. So looking at news while we're waiting for the market to open. Morning, Clarence. Morning, Diamond. Morning, Eric. Is that a back thing? No, it's a neck thing. Well, oh God, my arm is aching like mad. There's not one position you can put it in where it's comfortable. Like all night, I was tossing and turning, trying to get the thing into a comfortable position where it stopped hurting. And the only position I could have was like when you're dead in a coffin. I was lying on my back with my hands crossed across my stomach. And that was the only position where it didn't hurt. But I can't sleep like that because I snore and wake myself up. So, it's just awful. That will make you forget about neck pain. Yeah, losing in scalping makes you forget about neck pain. I think that's part of the problem yesterday. I was trying to focus on trading and I couldn't. I missed the open as well, so I lost all. Just all went wrong yesterday. Don't trade when you're not feeling sparky and awake. Just not. It doesn't work. Morning, Frank. So quick look at the news. So today we've got 9:45. We've got the monetary policy hearings for the pound. Not sure we're going to get much movement off of that. We had Bailey come out last week on the GDP with the monetary policy summary, and then a little press conference afterwards. So we've had everything we need to know about the pound and forward monetary policy last week. So I don't necessarily think we're going to get anything new, out of this one today. Not that one, that one. And then we've got EU forecasts and unemployment claims on the US. So again, another light day. It's a really, really light news week this week. Everything is literally just up, down all day. It's just not good this week. Morning, Gregor. So yeah, nothing much to look forward to. Although that is red news, I don't know. They may use it to make a move. I don't know. We'll see. Nothing. We just have to wait and see, don't we? Overnight, Biden came out overnight and said there will be no recession in the US this year or next, which is quite a bold statement, I think, for a president to say that, because he's not in charge. The bank is. But that's probably obviously what he's been told. US rates may go higher than 5%. So if inflation doesn't start to drop, we were looking at 5.25 as being the terminal rate. We can do that easily. So at the moment, obviously, with the US, we are currently sitting on 4.75. So another 0.25%, I think, is definitely on the cards. The CPI figures are going to be key. If that CPI figure comes out as a decent negative, we will get, I think, a good move to the upside, potentially on the US. So we're waiting to obviously get that figure out. But 5 to 5.25 is an easily on the cards now. There's your 15-minute pre going in at the moment. So overnight news-wise, we had that. That was about it overnight. I didn't actually go back and look at yesterday afternoon. Interest rates may stay higher for longer. Yeah, we knew that already. Bank of Canada. Signal a pause. So Bank of Canada might be looking to pause rates. Rates will rise above 5%. Yeah, even higher possibly. Yeah, so 5.25 is looking like it's on the cards for the US, which is potentially going to shake it up a little bit. We had a reshuffle yesterday, and we're going to give a load of jets to Ukraine and the UK. Otherwise, overnight, we've got German year on year. It's negative. That's fine. So, so that's your news, basically. So your 15-minute pre-market is in. Who's going in now? So there's your low. And that wherever this candle finishes will be your high this morning. So we'll see if we get some movement out of the DAX this morning. Other than that, I'm in currently CAD Swiss. I'm in this short still. This went into profit quite nicely yesterday, and it was in a profit again nicely. I'm not taking this CAD Swiss off at the moment. I'm trying really hard to hold it for a break of this low. I think this has potentially got a chance to come down and test this low. There's a 15-minute pre-market in. Oh, looks like he wants to go long. Someone's dumping a load of long orders in. Long on the DAX. So yeah, I'm looking for a test of this low. The fact that we've come all the way down here into this propulsion gap, and then we've got these little bits here to come and test. I think there's a good chance we'll make it. We have just rebounded off of this level though, so I'll see what happens on this one. I haven't taken it off. I have had a 0.25% profit on it, but I decided not to. DAX profit there. Right, so tapping into the pre-market highs on the DAX. So yeah, I've got CAD Swiss on short still. I have Euro Pound. Now this is going into DD. Euro Pound's going into drawdown at the moment. So I've got two positions on this. I don't know what's going on with the Euro. It's just not very happy at the minute. Might close one of those out. Closing one. I'll let the second one run. It's trailing. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with this euro. Oh, sorry, my arm. It's just every now and again I just get this spike of pain. Yeah, so we're dropping on this euro pound. Sentiment on the euro pound was strong at the time I took this, and it's changed. So morning outro, long DAX, good man. So yeah, I don't know what really to do about this one at the minute. It's just dropping. The euro just seems to have lost its oomph, which is fine. We've also got some pound strength coming through at the moment. So we'll have a look at all the sentiment and everything. But the euro, yeah, definitely lost its mojo at the moment. And the pound has found a little bit of mojo. But we are all at the moment still on everything sitting within those areas of the FOMC move from last week from the US, so the unemployment figures. So we're all, I think this week we're still kind of reeling from that hit on the unemployment figures on the US, and the market's not really gone a massive amount of distance yet. So I'm not too worried about any of it, but I'm only sitting in well, I think 1 point something percent of drawdown, which is nothing. So I've got a grand here. Do I take this? Do I go for a runner? I've got to go DAX. Where are we going, DAXy? Blimey, we're out the highs. That's not good. Well, it is good, obviously, but I have got no clue where this is going, obviously, because there's nothing to aim for. I have to draw in some old all-timers. Tricky. Yeah, that's a tricky one today, that is. That's an ADR hit already. Wow. Okay. What to do with that? What have I locked in? Locked in a grand, blimey. Okay. Too much. I'm taking that 2.8. That is 2.6 rather. I just banked on that. Too much to leave on the table just in case this drops. We're at ADR. I don't. As much as I'd love to leave that running, I had a terrible day yesterday, so I've grabbed back more than 3/4 of yesterday's loss. So if that carries on running, it carries on running. Keep hold of it if you want to keep hold of it. I'm only banking it because I had a bad day. So I just want to make sure I grab back as much of that bad day as I can. Oh, my arm. Ow. So we've got an ADR hit on the DAX. Very difficult to know what to do with that. Okay, so if you're trading the 15-minute opening range breakout, good luck. I ain't. I'm just going to turn the EA off because I'm not going to trade the 15-minute open. That isn't happening. Jesus, look at that. What's going on with the DAX? That's bizarre. Still going. Weird. I was just getting myself ready to type that ADR hit in the first 15. Yeah, no, it's nuts. 5-minute range all day, every day. Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful. This setup, this pre-15 is absolutely beautiful when you get days like this. And I've had 3 days like this. It's banked me over 10 grand in the last 2 months. 2 months, 2 weeks. These moves on the Nasdaq and the DAX when they happen. This is what this set file is built for. I would have let that run if I hadn't made such a cock up yesterday afternoon. Oh Jesus! Ow. Sorry, it's really difficult to concentrate on anything because my arm is just constantly aching. So yeah, if you haven't got on that, we need to wait for the 15-minute to go in. But this is, I have no idea what that is. I've never seen an ADR hit in the first 5 before, so I don't quite know what to make of that one. Luke, no slippage today either. Yeah, I didn't get slipped either. Look. That was my entry. I got perfect entry. A lot of liquidity in that. That's this is not slippage. This is not an overload of orders. This is someone placing a lot of orders, and there's a lot of liquidity in the market for some reason this morning. German CPI. I don't think that'd be CPI. Because what I would expect is a strong euro off the back of that figure. So I would expect the euro to be pumping off of the back of that, and it's not. It's dumping. Yeah, I don't. It may be related to CPI, but Euro New Zealand's hit ADR already. That's a good looking long. Euro New Zealand. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, no, it's not. So yeah, there's a potential fade on this. We're about to put in the mother of all propulsion gaps in the next 1.5 minutes. That's going to be a propulsion gap. I really don't know how to trade that, so I'm obviously not going to get more involved today. 9.2%, 9.6%. What's that? Oh, the German CPI. Yeah. One. So is it 0.8 forecast minus 0.8 forecast 0.9? We got a 1. So basically, if you look at it, we got a forecast, which is not really amazing, but maybe it was that. It might be that. But yeah, I wouldn't want to try and long this from there, obviously. Morning, Neo. So yeah, positions I've got on. I've got CAD Swiss, which I just covered. Euro Pound, which is going into DD, which is not a problem. Basically, on 1.2% in drawdown at the moment. Pound New Zealand. That's coming down nicely, so I'm back to break even on that one. I've got 3 positions on that. I'm holding it. I still think this Pound New Zealand's a good short. I still think the pound is a good short overall. So I'm looking for a return back at some point down there. I'll see. I might take some. Look at the size of that propulsion gap this morning. What do you do with that? I mean, what do you do with that? It's just a lunatic this morning, isn't it? So I'll be a bit worried about taking that long or short today. I've got pound New Zealand on shorts. I've got pound US dollar on short still in first position. Again, this is what I mean about this this move from the Fed last week. We're still hovering. Yeah, this is day 4 sideways at the moment. We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't come back up and retested yet. We've got no news catalysts to help us with that. Unemployment figures potentially later for the US. They might do something. I don't know. But yeah, so good moves. Potentially still upside on that, and then short it. I'm short on it at the moment. I'm quite happy if this just tanks, to be honest, which would be lovely. But if it wants to push up to there, I'll add and drop. And the other thing I've got on is New Zealand dollar CAD, which is a buy, which is pushing up very nicely this morning, coming back up into the propulsion gap left by the US dollar with the Canadian dollar. So again, looking to come back up into there and bank on that. Going for it. DAX. So your obvious play on this today is a mean reversion after this move. I've also got gold on still, and gold kind of paints the picture of the US dollar. Look, yeah, nothing. We're just not going anywhere. Yeah, it's been very difficult to bank anything this week. So yeah, it's flagging. I can see this flagging all the way back to origin, to be honest. So I don't know what to do with it, really. It's not going anywhere. If it pushes up, I'll bank, because I've banked on it already. So I think I just want to get out of it. When it gets back to an area, it will let me out, but it's not doing anything at the minute. So that's what I've got on at the moment. EA is obviously all set up to trade all of these, and market reversal alerts EA is just trading all of these for me. I will be looking to get a New Zealand, not New Zealand CAD, Pound US dollar I'm already in. CAD Swiss I think is the one that I'm not in at the moment. Yeah. So I'll be looking to get a CAD Swiss on short if I can at some point. Pound New Zealand already in, gold and Euro Pound. So CAD Swiss is the only thing I'm really set up for a short order. So if we have a quick look at the bias. Ow. Why are the tablets not doing anything either? We'll have a look at the sentiment in a sec as well. So the bias hasn't changed. We've had nothing obviously to change biases, so it's all still the same stuff. We want to be short in the pound US, short in the Aussie US, short the pound New Zealand, short the New Zealand US, short the Euro US, short the Aussie New Zealand. Longs on New Zealand CAD and US CAD, and if you are so inclined, longs against the yen if you want to take the yen. But personally, I'm just steering clear of the yen at the moment. So if there's anything you want to have a look at, shout, and I will look at it. We are getting rejection up at ADR. So there's a potential short play setting up now to come back and retest. So you've got two retest levels, either return to origin and undo the entire propulsion gap, or return to pre-market high. If you fancy taking an ADR short, we've certainly run out of power up here, haven't we? So nice short opportunity there, potentially. ADRs, we have got Euro New Zealand, which is neutral at the moment. It's a sell, but it's mixed. So Euro New Zealand come straight off of ADR. Probably missed. No. Sorry, it's not. Quite a way to go on that one. So that level that we're tapping into there, what is that level? What is that line on there? Don't know what that is. I mean, this is a total range-bound pair, as you can see. That's why the bias is range-bound. It's just not going anywhere at the moment. So you can take a long or a short on that. Personally, I'd be more inclined to look at longs at the moment because of the euro. I'm expecting the euro to strengthen up a little bit. So it's not extended, though, on the RSI. On the 4-hour, hourly, you probably are extended, yeah. So we've got an hourly RSI extension on it as well. It comes straight out of that lovely propulsion gap. So there's your accumulation. There's your propulsion move. There's your support on the propulsion move. Second propulsion gap put in. Buyers are stepping in. So good. This is buyers stepping in basically here. And the market obviously running out of steam because it's hit its average daily range. So good looking potential long there. Play it back up into that propulsion gap, I would, where we broke that low. So roughly half an ADR if you want to take that. That's the only one that's there. Euro Swiss is the only thing that we've had our weekly on. We've had a look at this. It's still very extended. We haven't had a move up on this yet now. So we're 125 ADR. So that is 157, although I would say it's more like 142 because this is a broker candle here. This is the overnight swap. So that isn't really, I would suggest, actual price action. Yeah, this is just the broker shenanigans, widening the spread at the swap. So this is actually where I would class it as. So you're probably not quite there. You're still 100 ADR. But Euro Swiss, is totally range bound. The advantage you've got at the moment with this one is you've got COT on side. So the market participants are positioned long. You have also got retail long on it, however, which means you want to really be shorting at the moment. So if you look at the sentiment, you can see obviously long and short. So there's a bias pulling against itself there. But it is very nicely extended. The problem with the Euro Swiss, obviously, is that it's a fairly low ADR pair, and it does tend to move. The Euro and the Swiss tend to move together. So what you'll find is when we get strength in the Eurozone, this is the pair that doesn't really move very far, because these two are obviously very close trade partners. A lot of the Euro's money goes through the Swiss banking system. So, but what we do find is very prolonged periods of strength and weakness in the Swiss franc. So when the Swissy either goes to sleep or powers up, that's when the Euro can really take advantage of it. So it's very nicely extended on the weekly. Hourly RSI, you had your extension there. We've got nice divergence on RSI on the hourly as well. So it is very bullish at the moment. We've got a Loch Ness Monster, new chart pattern I just created. So yeah, looking good. But I wouldn't look to get too excited on it. There's your support. Yeah, which should turn to resistance. So 125 ADR move to the upside, back into that propulsion gap really is all I'd look for initially, because it is still trending down at the moment. So, but after a big move like this, and this is 4-hour RSI extension, yeah, we'll get some kind of profit take move starting. So Euro Swiss looks pretty good for longs. And there's nothing on the monthly yet. RSIs, we've looked at Euro Swiss already. That's extended on the 4-hour. So there's a good opportunity to get in on the 4-hour there. Quickly see what DAX is up to. So there's your 15-minute range. It's absolutely huge. So yeah. You can't really trade that today. So your opportunities today really, I think, are I suspect what we will get is this sort of price action today. We've pushed, we've done everything, we've done the move, and we'll probably hold. But the other opportunity is in a full A-shaped recovery on this. Whatever this was, whatever caused that, and we just gradually fade it. So look to try and get shorts on down into here, but I don't know. That's mental, isn't it? ADR in the first 15 minutes. Hopefully it keeps pushing. Well, yeah, if you're still long it, yeah, I mean, hopefully it does. Yeah, if you're still in, stay in. Your 330 or 33 point candles at the moment. So if you stick a trailer on this, that's 35, 40 points. And this does continue to go. The only thing I would say is, if it is going to continue to go, look at how far you've come, right, in this candle. In this candle, you've done 89 points, which is half an ADR. So let's say it can do another half an ADR. Yeah, you're going to be looking at somewhere up there if it can do another half ADR. If it can't and it hasn't got the strength to do that, the only real gain you're going to get is possibly something like that. But who knows? This thing could trend to 200 ADR today. If that is the CPI figures that cause that, I'm quite surprised, because it's not a massive hit or miss. So stops locked in at 155.70. Yeah, that's fine. You get stopped out there. You're only like 17 points below where price is, aren't you? So yeah, good move. So going back to the RSIs, Euro Swiss we've looked at. That's very nicely extended, good long opportunity. There's not really the right bias on it at the moment. So when this positioning changes on the Euro Swiss, when all these longs get stopped out and they all start flipping short, that's when we'll will start to push. So we're just waiting for retail basically at the moment to get out of these long positions basically. So as long as they're long, the market will keep pushing down and stopping them out. So we need them to drop. And then obviously as COT positioning is long on it, we should get a decent move up into this area, 125 ADR on it. So good looking long opportunity. Aussie New Zealand is extended on the hourly to the downside. So Aussie New Zealand, now I like this as a short, and it's not really doing that at the moment. So I'm looking at this as a pullback at present. I haven't had your coffee yet. Yeah. 155.67 is your stop. All right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just keep an eye on it. If it get, the thing is, if you're using a trading stop, that's what, you know, the edge of the ORBEA is the fact that you don't touch it. It's got a long-term edge if you don't touch it. If you keep touching it, the edge diminishes. However, you might be adding to some that would have cost you more money if they drop. So it's difficult to tell. But yeah, I mean, this is the markets. Every time you think, oh, I can't do that, it does it. So yeah. But I'm looking at this Aussie New Zealand as a pullback short because the fundamentals point that way at the moment. However, the Aussie, has started to strengthen up a little bit off the back of its latest rate announcement because it increased its interest rates. So the market participation is still short on it. Retail has nothing, and we're fairly neutral now across the board on the fundamentals. A little bit more negative Aussie than New Zealand. So it is still a short bias, but it's not a short bias as it was. You know, we were a massively short bias on this thing. New Zealand is kind of getting towards what I think is probably its terminal rate soon for the interest rates. So I think we might start to see some weakness coming through in that potentially. So difficult to tell. So at the moment on the RSI, we're extended to the downside. So it is obviously at the moment we're in a trend upwards. So you're running into a propulsion gap. We're extended. So we might find some buyers stepping in down here. So looking at the market structure on it after the move, it's been fairly bullish, although we did double bottom. And then we put in a symmetrical triangle, which broke again to the upside. So the market structure is still bullish. But it's a bit jaggedy, as you expect with these two. They're trade partners, so you don't get a huge amount of push and pull unless there's something fundamentally wrong with it. So, yeah, so it looks pretty good for a long opportunity there. But as I say, it's kind of against the bias, really. But you know, the bias isn't necessarily going to play out immediately, is it? So I like it as a long Aussie New Zealand. I'm not taking it myself at the moment though. Euro New Zealand, that's just come off of ADR. That was our ADR here, wasn't it? Yeah. And it's extended on the hourly very nicely as well. So again, coming straight into that propulsion gap, good looking long opportunity. Hourly RSI extension, ADR hit to the downside, bias on it is against bias. So you've got COT ever so slightly long, you've got retail ever so slightly short, fundamentals are ever so slightly short at the moment. So it's a difficult one to take, but likely we are going to get a pushback up into that propulsion. So that should trade today. Your reverse alert is far too far away though. By the time you get the reverse alert, you're halfway to target. So not great because that strength of movement was so fast there on the Euro New Zealand. But if you're taking H1 M5, you're getting in there and looking on H1 where you're potentially going to go up to. It's up in there somewhere. So not amazing looking opportunity, that one. New Zealand dollar CAD. I'm already long on this one. I'm playing the play back up into propulsion. So that's extended on RSI to the hourly, on the hourly. So I would expect it either to go into an accumulation push or to pull back and then get a second leg up. New Zealand dollar yen. So New Zealand, all these yens. So from a fundamental perspective, most of these yens are longs. New Zealand dollar yen is the same. So at the moment, we've got COT positioning long on this one. There's nothing on retail. Fundamentals are pretty balanced. However, everything's going to be stronger than the yen because the yen is a negative 0.1 interest rate and it never changes. So if you like these long, take it, wait rather for a pullback into propulsion and then go long on it. If you're not worried, then you've got another leg down on this move. So this is where I said, this is where I got short and I got out. And ever since then, we've been coming down very, very nicely. So we pushed up, RSI extended, look for potentially a continuation short on it. The market, though, is at the moment long on it. So you would really think this is a pullback long up into here. So it's very, very difficult. These yens, I'm just not really interested in trading them at the moment because they're just too complicated with all the intervention that's coming through on the yen and the fact that the yen's interest rates are static. It makes it very difficult to analyze from a fundamental perspective. So I'm kind of steering clear on them myself at the minute, but market structure obviously is very, very bearish. So, you're coming back up, retesting for a short. So there's your retest arrow there. So yeah, looks good if you like it as a short bias. But again, you need to make up your own bias on this one because I don't think there's anything fundamental you can say, yes, this should be definitely this way or that way. I'd rather be short on it purely because when the yen decide to intervene, when Japan intervene with their currency, they really push it hard and it flies down. Everything flies down against the yen. So I'd rather be on that move than trying to fight that move. New Zealand dollar, US dollar is the other one. This is already going. So I'm kind of looking for this to get retested. We haven't had this massive strength on the US dollar off the back of all this movement. And again, it's the same old thing. It doesn't matter what the Fed says. They just don't seem to be able to pump the US at the minute. The market has lost confidence in the US. I'm starting to wonder if the markets are going into sort of safe mode a little bit with what's going on with China, what's going on with Russia. There's a lot of, we're now looking at supplying jets to the Ukraine in the UK. The US was going to supply jets and pulled out because it just wasn't going to happen. But there doesn't seem to be the strength in the US. It doesn't matter what good news we get out of the US at the moment. It seems to be weak. The stock markets are going up, which is great, which is an indication of not going into recession. Biden came out last night and said, we're not going to go into recession this year or next. We can increase our interest rates by another 0.5% because unemployment has gone down and inflation seems to be getting held. It's all positive. There's nothing but positive news coming out. This is not moving. You would expect this to really strengthen up, but it's just not happening. So I still want to be long the US, but I don't want to get long on the US until it gets to a point that makes logical sense. So I want to be looking at resistance areas to get in, because when I need to scale into it, I need to be back where price has levels, where there's levels where we're going to find interest, we're going to see participation from other big players. At the moment here, there's not really any reason to get in short. It looks like it wants to get back up there. So if it's going to take another 3 or 4 days to get up there, I don't know, we'll be sitting in drawdown on it for 3 or 4 days. But equally, we could just, depends what you want to take, doesn't it? If you're going to get an M5 reversal alert on it and you only want to grab half an ADR, you can do that today. Not a problem. There's your reverse alert. There's your propulsion gap. There's 25 points. You can easily do that. But yeah, it is extended. When you look at the bias on it, it's a massive sell. So there's no reason not really to get into it. COT is a little bit negative on it. I think that's probably going to get more negative this week when we get the figures out from this week, which were after the news events last week, and retail's got no bias. So I like it as a short, definitely. I just don't like the position it's in at the moment. I would rather get an RSI extension or an ADR hit up here somewhere. You know, if this thing suddenly went 150 ADR today, I'd get on board, definitely. But just, I don't like it here. It could also be doing like this. So this is a good example of the reason why I'm going to introduce the previous day's high into the sentiment EA. And by the way, you can trade this, you can use this EA without the sentiment as well. So I've just realized if you wanted it to take every single sweep of yesterday's high or low, all you need to do is set the sentiment trigger to 0, and it will just take every high and low sweep. So this can actually become just a last week's high, last week's low, yesterday's high, yesterday's low, last 4-hour high, low sweeper EA, if you like. But one of the reasons I want to introduce the previous day's levels is quite easily explained on this chart. Look, just drop down to M15 so we can see them both. So there's yesterday's high, yeah, which is sweeping at the moment. When you've got a pair that is in a weak uptrend channel or downtrend channel, or is range bound, yeah, like we are here, you can see what is happening. So this dotted blue line, which you probably can't see particularly well on the chart, is yesterday's highs and lows. So that's that high there, yeah, which got swept, dropped, swept, dropped, swept, dropped. Then you push up, we've got that high there, yeah, which hasn't been tested yet. Then you've got yesterday's high from here, there, which we've pushed above. So the next logical place, if they're not going to sweep that, is sweeping that. So by including the previous day's high as a level as well, if that now closes down below there, what they're doing is they're actually taking the liquidity from that high, aren't they? It's not a high of a week. It's not a high of a 4-hour. It's not the high of the yesterday, which is what the EA is currently focusing on. So by introducing that, I think that is another good level. But I think we need a filter on that, which is if yesterday's high is higher, or sorry, the previous day's high is higher than yesterday's high, include it as a level. Because what we don't want is maybe yesterday's high to be up there and then us to sweep that high. Because that's if yesterday's high's gone up there, that's already gone, isn't it? There's no liquidity sitting there to grab. So I need to think about how to implement that as a filter. But here, for example, that's actually going to be this week's low. So next week, that will become the low. This week's low as a filter, but only usable from Tuesdays onwards or Wednesdays onwards, really, because it would be yesterday's low, wouldn't it, on a Tuesday? So, so I'm going to fiddle with it a little bit more because I want to get accurate support resistance levels in, but I want a logical way of working them out. Yeah, so this is finding rejection here. Look on the 15-minute at the moment. Look at it on the hourly. Still pushing a little bit, but what we're doing is we're sweeping that high, aren't we? Potentially. So if we get a bearish engulfing now, take a short. If sentiment's on side, obviously, I don't know what New Zealand US sentiment is. It's neutral, so we wouldn't be taking any trades on it. But yeah, so I'm just going to implement that. But yeah, so I mean, this is why I'm not particularly keen on it. It could well work, and because of that reason. But you know, if you look at it, what it's done for the last 3 days, it's literally gone nowhere. And today we're pushing. So I think it's wanting to come back up and retest this propulsion area where I think we're going to find the US dollar stepping in. And we have the catalyst tomorrow in University of Michigan potentially to do that. So although this is not a massive, groundbreaking news event, the market does pay attention to it. We've also got unemployment claims at 1:30 pre-market this afternoon as well. So we will see. But that's all we've got on those at the moment. So the RSIs and the ADRs. DAX, it's not, we've run out of buyers. Look, just wicks. Crazy move that was this morning, wasn't it? What's the FX? The other market's done. FTSE screaming up to yesterday's high. Look. Interesting. The FTSE had the same push, but returned to origin, and then went. Now we're coming up to yesterday's high on the FTSE. So Nasdaq, big strong push again. So this kind of tells us that is not related to German CPI. This is a stock purchase. This is a sector purchase. You know what this could be? It could be military related, potentially. They might be buying military stock sectors because of all the talk about lending Ukraine or giving Ukraine military vehicles. So we might find the sector purchasing going on, which that could be because they're in the sector purchases will affect every single index because you've got manufacturers for all military vehicles in every sector, in the tech sector, in manufacturing and all sorts of stuff. So it could be related to a sector purchase, which makes the most sense now. I've seen what the US is doing. Either way, all good. We didn't have any where are we? February the 8th. We didn't have any big aftermarket yesterday. Uber. Let's see what that did. Yeah, Uber's going up. There's nothing particularly interesting pre-market today, is there? PayPal aftermarket. Tobacco companies are never going to make a lot of money. Not now. So yeah, I don't know. There's no sector purchasing that I can see. Nothing that there's no stocks basically which have gone. Oh, we need to be buying all of that. So yeah, good moves across the board. Anybody got anything else they want to look at in particular? Gold. I'll have a look at gold and oil as well. So gold coming up to yesterday's high. So again, I'm expecting this propulsion gap to get tested. We've got this secondary propulsion gap up here as well. So you see, obviously, these are the big news events that we had, FOMC, followed by unemployment. So FOMC powered up the US, unemployment massively powered up the US. However, we've done nothing. So I get the feeling that will become an orphaned propulsion gap. This one will become tested and they will start to add positions in at this level. That's what I suspect we're probably going to do. Where, I don't know. So looking at half, if we got an ADR hit, for example, on gold today, I would probably definitely want to be out. In fact, I'm going to just stick my TPs below ADR just to make sure. Well, I've only got two. Just that one. So just sticking my TPs below ADR. So basically, I'm out of gold then. It might come up and do the whole thing. You never know. But these are significant moves. Look at what we've previously had on gold. These are significant moves on the US. I was just expecting to see a continuation. We're not. So fade and drop, but I would definitely be looking more short now on gold after that news. Oil. So these were the levels that I had drawn in for the lows of oil, which we've bounced out of nicely. This is the area that I'm looking to target for oil. I didn't get in. I didn't get back in on this one. Just didn't get in. So like it as a long, it's extended at the moment. So any kind of pullback into propulsion, that that is where I'd probably look at taking it. So looking at some kind of pullback, 38, 50, 61.8, something like that. ADR hit to the downside, RSI extension to the downside on the hourly, something like that for a potential gold long. Just try and get in on a pullback when the market structures reversal alert kicks in and get a long one. Frank, 0.8 on DAX, 1% on Dow, 15-minute pre-open. Good move. No whipsawing. Yeah, excellent. You got on a Dow as well. Good job. Yeah. Dow didn't think twice either, did it, this morning? Pre-market pop. Not look back. So on the Dow, unlike the DAX, on the 5-minute, the DAX has given you quite a few, like, I'm running out of steam signals here. The Dow literally went pop, pop, inside bar, pop, pop, inside bar, bullish engulfing, spinning top. Potentially there's a 3-bar reversal going in here. So this is your first potential bearish signal on the Dow right now. And it's also just taken out yesterday's high, where we would expect to find some selling to start. DAX is just running into a brick wall. So I'd be watching your Dow long if you're on it. If you're out, fine. If you're not, that or that is where I'd be looking to target. What this is going to do this afternoon, it's going to be exhausted by the time we get around to the New York Open, isn't it? Might be a tricky one. My pad on my hand has now gone numb. That's where you got out. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Good move. That's all I've got for you this morning. So buyer scorecard obviously hasn't changed. So if you want to know what is the best buys and sells out at the moment, have a look. Those obviously, but at the moment we have such a light news week. Nothing is much moving. I keep having on my P&L, I keep having options to get out with 0.25% on stuff, but I'm just trying to hold it all at the moment because it's just, we seem to be range bound and flagging, and I'm just waiting for stuff to actually get a move on. So I'm not closing stuff out. Your top sentiment trades today are pretty much the same. Pound New Zealand short, I'm already short on that one. And you've got those three. So Euro, Yen, New Zealand CAD, and US CAD, all longs, all good long opportunities. If you want to look at retail sentiment only, there's a few more options. You've got Swiss Yen, Aussie Swiss, CAD Swiss, and Pound Swiss. So the market is really long the Swiss franc at the moment. Really short the Swiss franc at the moment. Really long the Swiss franc at the moment because we want to be shorting it. So yeah, no, I am saying that the right way around. They're really short the Swiss franc because they are longing everything against the Swiss franc, basically. So we want to be doing the opposite. Yeah. So, but if you look at the sentiment trades on the Swissy, like the Aussie Swiss, so that one's in profit. So that sell was taken here. Or was it actually? Hang on, let's have a look. Where was that one taken? I'm trading the 15-minute chart with this at the minute, just for testing purposes. Yeah, got in there. So that was the entry on it, look. Yeah, so it's beautiful because the market's long it. So it's just going to keep coming down, keep grabbing that liquidity. Every time they hit the long button, grab their liquidity. Still got liquidity sitting down there. Now liquidity sitting there as well. So I would expect them to pull back down and get that. I would expect them to also get that. But, this is the thing with this particular EA and this strategy, anti-sentiment, you don't know when the market is going to make the moves. It only needs to make the moves when it needs the money. So you can basically get out every day, get in, get out, get in, get out, and just keep getting in and out as long as that sentiment says so. As I say, this thing has been pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling constantly. And that's what it's designed to do, isn't it? Sentiment is grab shorts, liquidity, grab shorts, liquidity. That's what it does. What's the other Swisses? CAD Swiss. Haven't had an opportunity to get in that. Look, CAD Swiss. 4-hour high, you could have got in with trades on this, but not on the high. So yesterday's high, look, didn't touch it. Yesterday's high, didn't touch it. Yesterday's high, didn't touch it. Haven't managed to get in, but everybody's long it. It's coming down. Just didn't get a chance to get in. If I was using the 4-hour, I would have definitely been in this now, and obviously massively in profit, multiple times. Euro Swiss. Again, not really given opportunity to get in there. Market is long. Where's the EA gone? Oh, why is the EA not running on that? Don't know. But as you can see, everybody's long. What else we got? Pound Swiss. Everybody's long on pound Swiss. So this one just about to get into a short position. So we're just pushing above yesterday's high now. So as soon as we close back down below the high, we'll get into a short. But shorts, nothing yesterday. Looking to get in short. But yeah, it works beautifully. But the thing you've got, obviously, this is just running at the moment in test mode just to get into trades. So there's no stop losses, no TPs or anything. It's just a case of, are we triggering at the right levels? And is the trigger happening? Literally every time it drops, you get out and then wait for it to get back up there. Wait for everybody to get long again down here. And then you get short up there. And just keep rinsing and repeating all the time the sentiment is on side. So it's working beautifully. Probably would have banked about 2 or 3% this week on that. Short on US dollar CAD, Frank. You're shorting the US dollar, are you? Okay, DAX is coming down. So if this is a legitimate move today, we want to be looking for propulsion bounces. So anywhere in here, when we start to see signs of bullish price action, there's a potential buy opportunity. So obviously all the indices you can watch, they're all probably going to be doing the same thing. We didn't get a propulsion gap, however, on the FTSE. That was filled already. But all the other indices, you've got propulsion gaps on this morning to aim for. So just about to get a reversal alert on the Dow on the 5. So looking for somewhere down there, potentially for buys, but we'll see. I reckon what we probably will do is hold today somewhere, but you never know. It could just go into a massive trend today. I wouldn't expect anybody still to be in this. It's gone too far, too fast, and if you haven't banked it, you're missing. But anyway, right, so that's all I've got for you today. I'm going to go and nurse my arm and take some more painkillers. I might have to phone the doctor again and say, oi, you got anything stronger? So I'll be back at 2:20 this afternoon. We'll have a look at all the other FX pairs, see what's gone on this morning. Just be aware of the news. Obviously, we've got 9:45, which is in an hour. We've got the monetary policy report hearings for the pound. So we may get some volatility coming off of the pound. We've got at 10 o'clock, we've got the economic forecast for the euro. Again, don't know, but Lagarde has been talking a lot recently. So I don't suspect there's anything exciting going to come out in that, but you never know. We could have something come out in there that's going to pump or dump the euro. And then we've got unemployment claims at 1:30 an hour before the market opens this afternoon. So you need to be just aware of those three today. Not expecting anything dramatic, but this is the market. It can do what the hell it likes. So we will see. All right. So anything else you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group in pain. But I will be back this afternoon at 2:20, and I promise I will be here this afternoon. And then we'll see what's happened and see if we can milk a little bit more out the Nasdaq this afternoon, or the Dow, or whatever you want to trade. Okay. So anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be back this afternoon. Have a good day.